Alright, I'm inside my tent where I keep my motorcycle, and I hung a helmet up here, and there's a nest in here. And I have to determine whether this is a bird nest or a mouse nest. A bird nest I can kind of understand. A mouse nest, how do they get up there? I'm going to take this apart and see. There doesn't seem to be anything in it now. Well, it turns out to be a bird nest. I don't know what kind of birds these are. They're tiny. I don't see Mama around. I'm sure she is. I'm going to sacrifice my helmet and let these birds do their thing. The helmet will probably be kind of ruined. Well, birds don't pee like mice do. I wish I could pull this nest out and put plastic in the helmet and save the helmet, but I don't know what they are. Tiny little things. Who's your mama? All right, I'm going to hang this helmet back up there and let this nest run its course. Well, it turns out that this is the nest of a pair of Carolina Wrens, which are quite common across the entire eastern United States, up into Canada and down into Mexico. They eat bugs, insectivores, and as you can see here, feeding bugs to their chicks. I believe there's 5 chicks in this nest. It's quite difficult to tell the males from the females. They look pretty much the same. The males tend to be a little larger, but out in nature when you hear them singing, the males have totally different songs than the females. Often you'll hear them singing without even seeing them, as they're quite secretive. So this is the first time I'm filming this nest, and she or he sees the camera now and is quite curious as to what it is. I see a lot of intelligence in this bird, the way it's examining the camera. I guess it's trying to figure out whether it's a threat or not. But it seems it gets pretty comfortable with the camera being there. Then a car comes down the road, and the bird gets very interested in the sound of the car going by and kind of goes over to check it out. After figuring out that that's not a threat, the bird goes back and checks on its babies. This is day 1 of filming, but these chicks could already be 2 or 3 days old. I filmed for 9 days, and you'll see the light changing in these videos because some days it's sunny and some days it's cloudy outside. I noticed throughout the filming of this nest that the birds tend to exit the tent the same way they came in. At first I wasn't even sure how they were getting in this tent in the first place, but all the filming had confirmed that they're getting in at ground level underneath different various sections of the tent. Having filmed these birds at such a close distance and using slow motion really gave me the opportunity to see a lot of different nuances about these birds that I never would have seen unless I was able to capture it and look back at it later. So here you see the bird putting the prey, the food, into one bird's mouth, but it's not really letting it go. It's kind of teasing him with it. And I noticed that throughout. The parent will take a bug and put it in one bird's mouth and then put it in another bird's mouth without letting it go, kind of like testing the baby chick to see if it's hungry enough or aggressive enough to take the bug. I'll point out some other nuances that I figured out from observing this as this video goes on. I don't know if this is the male or the female here, but this bird is so curious about the camera that it's actually going to fly up onto the camera and check it out. This gets very interesting here. Again, I could have not have noticed these things unless I was filming so close to the nest, but look at this little bird. He kind of climbs out of the nest. I suspect he's probably the first one to hatch, as typically with birds, the first egg to be hatched will be larger, the bird will be larger than the last egg to be hatched, and that can happen over either several hours or sometimes even several days. But this little guy is coming out of the nest, and here comes Mom. Maybe he wants to be up there first one to be fed. Well, it looks like he indeed is the first one to be fed, probably because of his boldness. But then Mom goes into the nest and seems to find another little morsel of food. She takes it and she fakes it into the bird on the left mouth there, and then she gives it to the bird on the right. But then she goes deeper into the nest and pulls this out. I have no idea what this is. It could be dried up feces from one of the birds. It could be an invader. It could be regurgitated food. I don't know, but the parent seems that it's not worthy of being in the nest and takes it out of there. Often, older birds will bully younger birds, especially in some of the larger species and in raptors. But I don't know if this guy's a bully, but he's making his way back into the nest. But notice this little butthole there. Look at it, it's kind of chirping just like the other end does. That exaggerated articulating anus will become quite important, as you'll soon see coming up here. Watch closely, this happens kind of fast. So what just happened? If you missed it, you're going to get to see it again. So here the parent again is teasing the chicks, putting it in that mouth, taking it out, put it in the center's mouth. Now watch once the bird takes the bug. Still teasing, still teasing. So this one gets the bug on the right here. And watch, the bird will swallow the bug and turn around, exposing that anus to the parent. There goes the bug down the throat. The bird turns around and it poops a sack of digested bug, and the parent removes it from the nest. And I imagine that's pretty much for hygienic purposes. You will be able to observe the parent eating that feces at times, and imagine there's quite a bit of nutrition in there still. But here's another day, and it's raining today, as you can hear. That's a warning call from one of the parents. I'm not sure if it's the male or the female. But both parents are inside the tent now and jousting around on the floor and making various sounds. Some are warning sounds. Notice the chicks are very tight in the nest. I notice a lot when there's a lot of bird activity outside. The parents will sound warnings and the chicks will hide deep in the nest. So here you get to hear some of the various sounds of the adults. The parents are foraging for and collecting bugs on the ground inside my shed/tent. But get ready for another poop collection episode here. This is going to be a double. But again, it happens fast, so watch closely. The parent bird comes in with a bug, immediately feeds it to the first mouth it finds. Then it finds a poop sack, consumes it itself, and the bird that it just fed is turning around and presenting that anus, and there's another poop sack taken away by the adults. Amazing. Thank goodness we don't have to do that with our kids. Well, we kind of do, but never mind. So there's a lot of crow activity, as you can hear outside the tent, and both adults here are sounding off various alarms. This went on for quite a while, and notice how tight the chicks are in the nest. You can't even see them. This is day 5 of me filming, and at this point it's just become a conveyor belt of both parents bringing bugs into the nest for the ravenously hungry chicks and collecting poop sacks and bringing them out, and this just goes on and on and on. The chicks are growing fast. Their eyes have been open for like 2 days now, and they're getting louder. Their songs are getting a little bit different too. Their demands for food. Another rainy day. This is day 7 of me filming. I didn't get to film on day 6 because I was in town all day. But the feeding frenzy continued early on, but I noticed, maybe because it's raining so hard outside, that the parents are resting more. As you'll see, this one took a bit of a rest on the forward part of my helmet. She sat out there for a good 20 minutes, so I kind of did a time lapse and sped through this segment. The wind was blowing pretty good too, as you can see by the helmet rocking and the front door flapping. So she got a bit of a ride, as well as those chicks. But they're almost done. It's almost fledging time. And on day 9, the day before they fledged, I noticed a little chipmunk come into my shed from underneath that piece of cardboard there on the ground. And the adults sounded the alarm and the chicks went tight into the nest. Now, I don't know if chipmunks are a threat to these birds, and there's really no way for that chipmunk to get up there. But I know chipmunks will eat carrion once in a while. And I've read that these Carolina Wrens will occasionally eat small snakes or small frogs, stuff like that, and sometimes berries, but mostly insects. There goes the adults giving the warning, trying to scare this chipmunk away. At one point, you'll see an adult come down to the ground and almost confront the chipmunk. Came out to put the camera on them this morning, and they're gone. They fledged. I would have liked to have caught that on camera. But little Carolina Wrens have fledged. Good for them. So the little baby Carolina Wrens have fledged, and it's said that they can do 4 broods a season. So I'm going to remove this helmet and remove the nest so that I can regain use of my helmet and they don't build another nest in here. It's an interesting little nest. Ouch! What the heck was that? So I guess what I'll do is put some soapy shampoo water in here or something. Wash my helmet out and let it dry out in the sun. Ugh. The price you pay for observing nature, I guess. It's a pretty amazing little nest. I'm going to go put it in a box somewhere. Maybe they could reuse it or some other animal could use it, but it's pretty incredible.